And stop. As much as I love the first few seconds of that intro, as soon as the bagpipes are done, this not so great guitar comes in, and it's just not as good and very depressing. Anyways, where was I? Oh yes, there was a time when anime had this phase of making a whole bunch of fantasy-esque anime. Some good, like Lotus Wars and Slayers, with spells, mystical swords, and dragons and demons and stuff, with occasionally a liberal dose of comedy. And then there were those not-so-good shows like Those Who Hunt Elves and Ruin Explorers, and of course some of the not-so-interesting entries of the .hack franchise. The problem with all of these shows, at least here in the West, is that the majority of them ended up getting licensed by companies who were, at current, no longer in existence. Because of that, their licenses have gone into a sort of a limbo, except for things like Slayers that's popular enough for Funimation to save it and re-release it and get the new seasons and la-di-da-di-da, because Slayers is both awesome and extremely lucky. Because of this, while there are quite a few of these titles that aren't really worth picking back up, there is the occasional brilliant gem that just gets left on the wayside, sort of like it got scrapped, as it were. Oh, that hurt a lot more than I thought it was going to. Ladies, gentlemen, and others, my name is Arcada, and welcome to Glass Reflection. Today, Scrapped Princess. Let's jam. In a fantasy world completely different from our own, cut off from the rest of the universe, there exists a prophecy. This prophecy states that a specific girl shall be born known as the Scrapped Princess, who, upon the arrival of her 16th birthday, shall bring destruction upon the entire world. And so, because of this prophecy, once the girl in question was born, the king of the land ordered her to be executed, and the child was thrown off a cliff to her death. She survives, of course, because otherwise there would be no show. However, I'm surprised no one really questioned why she lived. Is it like a thing for being thrown off a cliff to be a really bad assassination idea?
Mission accomplished.
Right. So yes, she lives and grows up with a foster family, and they all live happily ever after. Yeah, right. Eventually she gets found out, and alongside her brother Shannon and her sister Raquel, the Scrapped Princess Pacifica heads on a journey to get outside the kingdom's influence and hopefully into safety. But of course that isn't easy, as they are pursued by powerful creatures known as peacemakers, who will sacrifice everything, absolutely everything, to stop the Scrapped Princess from reaching her 16th birthday. Ooh, things are getting exciting! The thing I love about the setting of Scrapped Princess is how it's able to take all these stereotypical fantasy tropes, but also have this element of, like, lost technology, and then combine them, making them seem believable without going, like, full steampunk in order to do so. The problem I had with the series, though, is that the characters rarely ever figured anything out on their own, as some new or old character would just randomly appear to give them all the answers they needed without too much difficulty. But the characters themselves are pretty cool. The main trio of siblings for the show is honestly well balanced, all things considered. Pacifica, besides the fact that the entire kingdom wants her dead, always seems to have a positive outlook on life, albeit sometimes in a rather immature and spoiled rich kid-like fashion, and she relies heavily on her brother and sister for protection. First of them is Shannon, the skilled swordsman and more serious of the group, who acts as sort of a compass for the trio, as he loves his siblings dearly and wants to make sure that they could all live in peace. Then there's Raquel, the powerful magic user, who is much more upbeat than her brother, and while at times a little lax, can still be just as serious, and really is not someone you want to piss off.
Don't you think that was a bit much? Well, you heard him. Oh, look, here comes Shannon.
Oh, yourself, Missy.
Throughout their journey, they encounter a multitude of characters, all with their own short but sweet stories that tie them into the world. There's the aspiring knight, Leo, the young girl, Winia, from the inn they stayed at, and Cenis, a princess from the neighboring kingdom, to name a few. All of them are well-placed and never outstay their welcome on screen, which is a surprising feat. The characters on the whole are not perfect. Like, there were times I wished I could just slap Shannon upside the head, but hey! For the most part, they were pretty good.
Hi there, cute little girl.
Hi there.
And how are you doing?
Fine, thanks for asking. Hey, Shannon, some bandits are here.
Okay.
What's the matter, sis? Bandits looks like... Oh.
Hey, little lady. You wouldn't have something nice to share with us, would you?
Oh! How about some pickles?
The animation for Scrap Princess was handled by, guess who? Studio Bones! You know that really famous studio that did Wolf's Rain, Eureka 7, and Full Metal Alchemist? Fun fact, the final episode of Scrap Princess aired within 4 days of the first episode of the original Full Metal Alchemist series airing. I know, right? Now, I won't go so far as to say that the animation quality for Scrap Princess is on par with that of Full Metal Alchemist, but still, all things considered, it's really good. Everything is colorful, the landscapes are detailed, the character designs are attractive. Though I will question the reason why no female character seems to have a cup size below a C, but hey, at least it's better than Dragon Age. 80-year-old women with D cups. Why the hell not? It's fantasy! The animation only seems to dip when it involves horses or ships of some kind, which, if you notice things like that and they even bother you in the first place, they are thankfully few and far between, leaving the rest of the animation to shine beautifully. The soundtrack for Scrap Princess was composed by Hikaru Nanase, who, I will admit, has never impressed me in the past. However, upon hearing this particular soundtrack, I stand corrected. It may not have the notable flair like soundtracks composed by people like Yoko Kanno or Yuki Kajira do, but some of the more mellow tracks remind me of things like Ko Otani's work in Haibane Renmei, or basically anything Joe Hisashi. It just has this nice fantasy feel to it, and honestly ranks as one of my favorite anime soundtracks. Seriously. Plus, man, like, bagpipes. I know it gets ruined by the guitar afterwards, but like, bagpipes! The dub for the show is a funny story, actually. I don't know when it was recorded in comparison to the dub for Chobits, but every single actor who had a major role in Chobits appears in Scrapped Princess, usually in a major role as well, which I personally found hilarious considering I watch these shows more or less back to back. And everyone was well casted, from the mains to the supporting characters. I can't name them all, but a big shout out to Bob Pappenbrook for his portrayal of the traveling priest Birkins. He was an awesome character, and he did a great job. We miss you, Bob. And before we even get to the final verdict, I know what you're thinking. Arcata, you seem to really like this show. It must be Certified Frosty, right? No. It was close. It was so very close. You have no idea how close I was to giving this show Certified Frosty. It was like right there. You know what stopped it? The ending. Oh sure, the majority of the ending's fine, like 98%. The ending was perfect, and it's probably the closest thing to a fairy tale ending I will ever see in an anime. It's just that 2%. 2% that just... Like, it makes me want to be this little kid who's yelling at the storyteller for telling it wrong.
Hold it, Grandpa. You read that wrong. It wouldn't be fair.
Well, who says life is fair? Where is that written? Life isn't always fair.
I'm telling you, you're messing up the story. Now get it right.
Do you want me to go on with this?
Yes.
All right, then. No more interruptions.
Regardless of its sometimes upbeat storytelling and characters, Scrap Princess is a fantasy that's not really meant for children. Hell, I don't even know why I brought that up. Like, the show has a cult of religious fanatics who are trying to assassinate a teenage girl. Yes, this is totally not for kids. But some of the colors and the more happier aspects of the show might make you think otherwise. It's similar to some of the quick changes in tone that Bones became known for with Full Metal Alchemist. This show is a gem that unfortunately not as many people know about. And they should. They really should. And sure, maybe this review is just one big giant signal boost so that people possibly could become fans of it, and that maybe perhaps some company might decide to relicense it. And that would make me very, very happy. Like, extremely happy. And so what if it is a signal boost? Scrap Princess is worth it. But now, for the moment of truth. Taking into account everything I have said before now, I have meticulously calculated values for the categories of story, characters, animation, sound, and my own personal enjoyment, which, after reading a prophecy saying that the anime will cause destruction to the entire world and me going, fuck that noise, has me awarding Scrapped Princess with a numerical score of 8.96 out of 10, and an overall recommendation to... you know what? Screw it. It's certified frosty. I know what you're thinking, but Ark, you say the ending is paramount. And it is. That is one rule I love to live by. But a rule is a rule. And sometimes, rules are meant to be broken. Plus, screw it. It's my review. I do what I want. DVD copies of Scrap Princess are rather rare, as the show has been out of print for quite a while, also making it obviously not available for legal streaming. But if you're lucky, like me, you might be able to find an old DVD set from Bandai lying around. But officially the license has expired, and Scrapped Princess is unfortunately unlicensed. For alternate anime recommendations, I point you towards the classic fantasy anime Slayers, as well as the previously mentioned Bones anime Full Metal Alchemist, the 2003 version specifically. Feel free to watch the Brotherhood version afterwards if you so desire. And with that, I leave you. Until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.